If you have myGov open right now, fingers hovering over launch, ready to smash your 2026 tax return in the very first few days of July, hang on for a second. Because here is the real tension. You want your refund fast, but you really do not want to lodge it wrong. And weirdly, rushing your tax return is one of the easiest way to get neither. Hi, I am Nihal. I work in accounting here in Australia, and every July I see people make the same mistake. They treat tax time like a race. But tax time is not about who lodges first, it's about lodging with the right information. In this video, I'll explain what ATO prefill actually means, what tax ready means, what can still be missing in early July, and what you should check before you press submit. Quick note, this is just a general tax information only. It is not personal tax advice for your exact return. On income, deductions, and record matters, so use this as a guide and get professional help if you are unsure. First, let's kill the biggest myth. A lot of people think lodging on 1 July means they are first in the queue for a refund, but it doesn't really work that way. Your return is not better just because it was lodged early. It still needs complete and accurate information. So if you lodge with missing information, missing bank interest, missing health fund detail, or missing government information, that can slow things down or create an amendment later. So the goal is not to lodge faster. The goal is to lodge complete the very first time. Here is what most people do not realize. On 1 July, the financial year has ended, but that doesn't mean that the ATO has already received every piece of information. Your employer has to finalize your income statement, the bank may report interest, your health fund may report private health insurance details, Services Australia may report Centrelink payment information, share registries, investment platforms, managed funds, and other providers may also send information through. The information can then appear automatically in myTax. This is what we call prefill. Prefill is useful because it saves time and reduces manual entry. But prefill is not a magic. It does not always mean everything is complete. It is simply information that has been reported so far. Services Australia's current 2026 guidance says waiting until late July allows time for most details to prefill in ATO myTax, which can help avoid mistakes and reduce the chance of needing to amend the return later as you miss something lodging early. So the message is not you're not allowed to lodge early. The message is do not lodge blindly. Now let's talk about tax ready. If you're an employee, your employer reports your wages and tax with her through single touch payroll, which is called STP. At the end of every financial year, your employer finalizes your income tax statement. When that happens, your income statement should show tax ready. That usually means that your employer has finalized the payroll figure for the year. Before that, it may say not tax ready. And if it says not tax ready, that is a warning sign. It does not automatically mean that your return will be wrong if you lodge, but it does mean that the income information may not be final yet. So, before lodging, check the status first. Do not just assume that because something appear in myTax, the whole return is ready. Now, who really need to be careful? If you have one job, your income statement is already tax ready, you had no other income, no private health complications, no investment, no side hustle, and you have your deduction evidence ready, your return may be simple. But many people are not that simple. If you had two jobs, check both employers. If you change job during the year, check both income statement. If you earned bank interest, make sure it is included as well. If you had private health insurance, make sure those details are there because they can affect part of your return. If you received Centrelink payment, check that information as well. If you had shares, ETFs, dividend, managed fund distributions, or crypto, that information can take longer. And if you did Uber, DoorDash, Airtasker, freelance work, cash jobs, APN work, or any side hustle, do not assume it will appear perfectly in the prefill. Sometimes that information may appear later. Sometimes you need to rely on your own records and do not follow what's there in prefill as long as you have evidence. And if this is your first tax return in Australia, Maybe you are a student, an immigrant, or new to system. Take extra care. Sometimes the risky part is not just the numbers, it is misunderstanding the word. Let me give you two real world examples. Example 1, someone who worked two jobs. One employer finalized early, the second employer had not finalized yet. They opened myTax. They saw that job 1 has already pre-filled, assumed that was everything and lost. A few weeks later, the second income statement appeared after it was finalized. Now, the return was missing income. That can lead to an amendment, an 8-year adjustment, a delayed refund, or a tax bill they were not expecting. Now, let's move on to example 2. We'll talk about bank interest. Maybe you earned interest from a savings account. It might only be a few $100s, but it is still an income. If you lodge before the bank interest appears and you forward to include it manually from your records, the return may be incomplete. The problem is not that you tried to do right thing. The problem is that you lost before the full picture was ready. Now, this is the best part I really want you to remember. Waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. If you just close myGov and wait until late July, you are wasting the most useful part of the tax time. This is when you get your records ready. You need to ensure that you use this time properly. You can start collecting your work related receipts, check your invoices, bank statements, logbook diaries, and any evidence for deductions. If you are also claiming work from home expenses, work out which method you are using and whether you have right records as well. If you made donations, check that they were deductible gift receipts and that you have the receipts. This is something that your tax agent can sort out for you as well. So you can provide the receipt to a tax agent and they can have a look at that for you. Or you can also look at it at ABN lookup by entering the ABN provided on your gift receipt. If you are if you are claiming uniform, tools, subscription membership, or training, make sure they are connected to your work and you do have an evidence to prove it if anything is asked from it. Check your bank account details in myGov because this is where your refund will go and it is really critical. And if you had any side income, do not guess it totally properly. Uber, delivery apps, freelancing, ABN work, online sales, cash jobs, bank interest, dividends, crypto, rental income. If you earned it, you need to consider whether it belongs to the return. Pre-fill helps, but your records still matters. Here is exactly what I want you to check. Open myGov, go to ATO online services, go to employment or income statement, look for the status. If it says tax ready, that is a good sign. If it says not tax ready, pause before logic. If you had more, then look beyond employment. Check bank interest, check private health insurance, check Centrelink or government payments, check investment income if relevant, and check side hustle or business income from your own records. The more complete the information is, the safer you are to lodge. Let's talk about 3 mistakes that I see every July. Mistake number 1, lodging while the income statement still says not tax ready without understanding the risk. Mistake number 2, assuming pre-fill means everything is complete. No, it doesn't. And mistake number 3, duplicate income. For example, manually adding something and then later also accepting the same pre-filled amount in another section. So do not just click through. For example, manually adding something and then later also accepting the same pre-filled amount in another section. So do not just click through. Check carefully. If something is missing, you use your and if something does not make sense, pause. Do not guess your way through a tax return. Before you lodge, run through this checklist. Is your income statement tax ready? Have you checked your employers? Your bank interest appeared or have you checked it from your own records? You check your side income, investment income, crypto, rental income, or avian income. Do you have evidence for every deductions? Have you checked that nothing is duplicated? If you can confidently answer yes, you are in a much better position. If not, give it more time and check every single thing again. So the simple takeaway is this: Prefill is there to help you. It is not there to replace you checking your own return. Do not lodge just because the calendar says July. Lodge when the information is ready, your records are organized, and the numbers actually make sense. And if you want more deep dive video on what sort of deductions you can claim on your tax return to minimize your tax payable, please let me know on the comments. And also comment your industry or general job type below, not private details, and I'll use that to make more specific tax time videos to answer your questions. Thank you for watching. See you on my next video.